Well, I've simplified a little bit. That looks a little more simpler than before. So now look, this is a scalar, right? That's the gradient of something. Look, if I got by somewhere, do the right-hand side 0, we will have the gradient, the spatial gradient of something equal to 0, right? What can we say with this something? It's constant. So the integration of that would be trivial. Okay, so now let's look in what situation the right-hand side of this term can be made 0. Okay? Look, let's consider now, I remind that we are in a steady state, right? A steady state. By the way, what happened in the steady states? There is something that we studied. We are now recovering concepts that we have seen in previous chapters. What did we say in the chapter 1 in a steady state about streamlines and path lines? They were the same. Okay? So now let's consider a given streamline or path line. They are the same. This is a geometrical line that has a certain equation which is can be parameterized in terms of the length of this curve, starting at some point. Let's call that S. So x of S is a function, a three components vector which is parameterized in S, which provides the spatial position of every point of this line. Okay? This line, let's call it gamma. This gamma, which is defined by this equation, is a streamline or a path line. Look, by the way, if I differentiate that equation with respect to the parameter, I obtain a line that by definition is a tangent line to that, or at least is tangent. So differential of x with respect to S, if I differentiate this x with respect to S, I obtain a vector which is a tangent vector to that. Okay? On the other hand, since this is a streamline, what can I say about velocities at these points? Since it's a streamline, they are tangent to the line. So that tangent and the velocity are parallel. So if that vector is supposed to be 1, modulus 1, so normalized, we can say that the velocity of the particle at this point can be written as this tangent vector, differential of x with respect to S, times the modulus of the velocity. Okay? But on the other hand, if I consider that the velocity is the differential of x with respect to t, then since this S is changing along time, then we can say that differential of x with respect to t is differential of x with respect to S times differential of s with respect to t. So now differential of x with respect to s is t, and the differential of s with respect to t is the modulus of the velocity. Okay? So that is just geometrical considerations from the fact that this is a streamline, a path line, etc. It's the same. Okay? Okay, now what happens if we consider if we are able to identify a path line of the motion? Again, I recall, barotropic, I just in bold, we see here the main assumptions we are doing, okay? To be conscious of in what assumptions we are, in what situation we are. Barotropic, for instance, incompressible, water is. Perfect, that means no viscosity, water is. Potential forces, well, normal forces in water, gravitational forces are. And a steady state solution, okay? In that case, we have a streamline or path line, and then let's consider that, let's see if we can identify one path line. So what happens of that equation in one path line? Okay, let's consider just points of gamma, points of a given path line. That equation, which is fulfilled everywhere in the fluid, will be also, of course, fulfilled at points of this. But now let's multiply that equation, right and left-hand sides, times the velocity vector at all points, at every point of this path line. So let's do it. If I multiply that times the velocity, here I have the gradient of this trinomial of Bernoulli. Look, this Bernoulli's trinomial is a scalar function m, which depends on x, of course, depends on the position, and that for the specific path line gamma, x depends on s, the parameter of the path line. So that is the gradient of m multiplied by the velocity, and then multiply the velocity at the right-hand side. But look, what is the aspect of this? This is a vector product of two vectors, omega and velocity, right? By the way, this should be a calligraphic omega, that's a mistake here. So this is twice omega dot product times velocity. So, you know, we also saw in the first chapter, in the preliminary chapter, that the vector product of two vectors is orthogonal to both of them. You remember that? So this is a vector which is orthogonal to B. And now we are multiplying this vector times B. That's 0. So we have achieved the goal I mentioned before. So along a given path line, if I multiply both sides of that equation times the velocity, well, look, I am modifying the equation. Because at the moment that I modify this equation is not no longer 3 equations. It's becoming just 1 equation. Okay? Because the product of that, this is a vector times a vector, is a scalar. Okay? But now we obtain a scalar equation in which we can say that this right-hand side term is equal to 0 for all points belonging to the specified streamline or path line. So I can specify that the gradient of m times the velocity, the velocity is differential of x with respect to s, times differential of s with respect to t, okay, is 0. So this is a scalar, I can just cancel that. I can say that the derivative of m with respect to x, which is the gradient, times differential of x with respect to s is equal to 0. But look, if I wanted to differentiate m with respect to s, I have to take the gradient and do that. So this is the differential of m with respect to s. This product, gradient of m times the velocity, returns the variation of the Bernoulli trinomial along this path line for different values of s. So finally, all this manipulation leads to differential of m being a function, at the end of the day, a function of s, of the position of the point at the streamline, is equal to 0 along for all points of this streamline. So what can we say of m? If differential of m is equal to 0, it's constant. But is constant, look, is constant for all points belonging to this streamline, not all other points. So in other words, all points of this streamline have the same value of m. Look. So what can I say? Well, m, let's recall what m was. P, the generalized pressure function, phi, the potential forces function, 1/2 v squared, which is a function of x, that turns out to be constant along the same streamline. And this can be done for all the streamlines. Look, this is no longer a differential equation. This is an algebraic equation. We have done an integration. Here, we have done an integration. Look, okay? So we have somehow integrated the motion equation, the Euler's equation, which was complex. For this specific case we are considering, we have integrated into that 4 points of this streamline. This is the famous Bernoulli theorem. Well, it can be now manipulated a little bit. Now imagine that for the barotropic we consider incompressible, so a specific case in which the density is constant. If the density is constant, these generalized P functions that I introduced, if that is constant, it doesn't depend on the pressure. So this rho 0 comes out, and the integration of the pressure is just P. So finally, we can say that for incompressible fluid, that generalized pressure function that we talk about turns out to be the pressure divided by the density, which is now constant, because it doesn't depend on the pressure. Okay? So, what also? If the forces are gravitational, we already know that the potential is Gz. So let's replace that. P is P over rho 0. Phi is G times Z. And 1/2 V square is equal constant, is constant for any streamline. When I change from a streamline to another streamline, what changes? The constant. Okay? But for points belonging to the same streamline, this is constant. And look, now we can do something. I divide by G, everything, and I have this term divided by Z, which is Z, this term, which is P over rho 0 G, and this term, which is 1/2 of V squared over G. Look, the dimensions of this is length dimensions, height. So these constants now can be considered a height, something that has a dimension of length, okay? And this is the famous Bernoulli's theorem that probably you have seen, and it's crucial, this theorem, for in designing, in hydraulics, for pipe designing. Pipe designing is based on the Bernoulli's theorem, even canals designing. Everything that can be considered in a steady state, in water, under gravitational forces, in a steady state, don't forget that, in a steady state, can be designed using that theorem. Let's see a little more detail what is that. So the theorem says the following. Imagine that we have a pipe, okay? Imagine they have a pipe that takes water from the reservoir to the city, Barcelona. And we know the trace of the pipe. So we know that the pipe is starting at the reservoir, for instance, and now the trace of the pipe is moving down, following a certain length, S, up to arriving to the final point where we want. And we have to design that pipe, okay? We know, because this is something that we have studied, we know the elevation of this pipe, so with a certain reference, we know what is the elevation of the points of the pipe at every point, right? So we know Z. Let's assume that since the pipe is the cross-section of the pipe is very small with respect to this length, let's assume that all streamlines are the same. How are the streamlines? The streamlines follow the trace of the pipe, okay? So this is just a one-dimensional, so to speak, hydraulic construction. So this we know, okay? So this we know at all points, for instance. Then, this term is the elevation term, is a part of this height. Then this is a term that essentially depends on pressure, divided by rho 0 G, which makes that the final dimension of this term is length, but this depends typically on the pressure, okay? Which can change. So the pressure, that term here, which is a second term that you have to add to the elevation, at every point it can change. That's the pressure head, okay? And then that term, what this looks like. Look, it's proportional to the square of the velocity divided by 1/2. What does this 1/2 of the velocity square recalls you? Kinetic energy, right? Setting for the density and blah, blah, blah. But it's the kinetic energy. So this is an energetic term. The higher the velocity, the higher is this term. So the velocity of the water at different points can be different. Can increase the velocity, can decrease at certain points. So this is a third term. So for every point of the development of our pipe, this is just an elevation map, right? But we can have this can also have two coordinates, okay? So at every point, we can compute the elevation. Imagine that we can measure the pressure, and imagine that we can measure the velocity. So I can compute the three heads for this point, okay? The theorem of Bernoulli says that at every point, the sum of the three are constant. So finally, if we do that for every point, what we should find is here a straight line, not a curve, a straight line, which is the constant. This height here, is that constant. What does that mean? That look, immediately, if we know the value of this constant, for instance, imagine that we know at certain point, imagine at the beginning, We know what is the elevation at the reservoir. We know what is the pressure at the taking point, okay? And we know what is the velocity at the taking point, at the original taking point, probably 0. No, it doesn't matter. We know the velocity. So by summing the three terms, we know h, okay? So that means that at any other point of the pipe, if we know two of these terms, the other one is determined. Understand? So, for instance, if I know the elevation, which is regularly I would know because it's part of my design, and I know the pressure, then the velocity is determined just by subtraction. No? So I'm solving the problem I was interested in. What is the problem, for instance? What is the problem I'm interested in the design of that? For instance, knowing the pressure at every point of the pipe. Okay? So if I know the elevation, okay? If I know the velocity, how could I compute the velocity? By dividing what? The volume flow by this cross section, which could vary because even the cross section can change along that. Okay? So I know this term and I know this term. So automatically I know the pressure everywhere in the pipe, and I can design the structure to support, to carry out this pressure. Understand? With no computation. What I am doing, in fact, at the end of the day, I'm solving these 5 unknowns partial differential equation. But due to the cleverness of this Bernoulli guy, now we can do that with no complexity, mathematical complexity for this specific situation. Pipes, where we can identify the streamlines, water, gravitational forces, steady state. You see? And that is any handbook of hydraulics also consider that as a part of the tools that we need for designing pipes.